After race-fueled violence in Virginia, thousands push for Austin to change the name of a street named for a Confederate leader. But neighbors don't seem to agree on what to do about it. Officials at Texas A&M have canceled a White Lives Matter event after a similar rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, Saturday turned deadly.
We spoke with State Senator Charles Schwertner just before the cancellation was announced. The Republicans' district stretches from Williamson County east to College Station.
I think it's important that individuals again stand up and say that Texas A&M, the Brazos Valley, and Texans don't stand for racism and bigotry and violence.
Texas A&M officials decided to cancel that rally after talking with law enforcement. They say they are worried for the safety of students, faculty, staff, and the public. A judge has denied bond to the man accused of driving into that crowd Saturday in Charlottesville. In response, protesters in North Carolina late today have knocked down this Confederate monument at an anti-racist rally. They used a ladder to put a strap around the statue of a Confederate soldier and then cheered after they pulled it to the ground. Meanwhile, people in Tennessee have filled their state capital in Nashville. They're trying to push lawmakers to get rid of that statue of Confederate General and Ku Klux Klan leader Bedford Forrest. The police chief in Austin says he expects to see marches or protests in response. He says his department is ready to protect the public.
At the same time, thousands of people are pushing the city to change the name of a street just south of downtown bearing the name of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. The city says replacing street signs vandalized this weekend will cost about $700.
But as KXAN's Jacqueline Powell learned, that's just the tip of the iceberg of what could become a burdensome process.
Along Robert E. Lee Road,
there are lots of people here in this neighborhood who really want the name change, and they've been wanting it for years.
Gilbert Ramos says he's one of them.
I see it every day, and I feel uncomfortable just seeing that name.
Ramos wrote to his city council members asking that the name of the street be changed to that of Officer William Dwayne Jones Sr., who died here on duty in 2000.
I figured that would be the most appropriate name and a hero for Austin and this neighborhood.
Online, a petition's gained thousands of signatures proposing other names the city could use for the street. But not all of the neighbors here are on board.
I think it would be an extreme hassle. I don't want to do it.
To change the name of this street, more than half of everyone who lives on or next to this road must give written approval of the name change. Then there would be a public hearing, followed by internal reviews and a final decision by the city council. After all of that, the work would begin for the people who live here.
A spokeswoman for the city's transportation department told me if this street name were to change, neighbors would have to go through the same process that they would if they were to move. They'd have to fill out a change of address form with the post office.
And with that,
We're talking about changing mortgages, credit cards, bank accounts, driver's licenses.
Jacqueline Powell, KXAN News.
This is not the first time Lee's name has caused controversy in Austin. The Austin ISD changed the name of Robert E. Lee Elementary last year. It is now named after Russell Lee, who was UT's first photography professor and respected for the need for diversity at the UT campus. But when the university moved a statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis from the UT South Mall to a museum in 2015, well, left a statue of Lee in place where it stands today.